1/4 should do. Number 832, a little truth from the jukebox should make it alright. And as the booze sets in, I'm getting high again to a waltz about whiskey on ice. So won't someone dance with me to a waltz about whiskey and turn the sad songs to lullabies? I don't need much of nothing except for all your loving and a waltz about whiskey on ice. Cried love was a ring that won't end. Well, I was handed a lie, and now the only thing I know of a ring is the circle my glass leaves behind. So won't someone dance with me to a waltz about whiskey and turn the sad.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, podcast fans of all ages. I'm Dave Valente. Thank you for joining us on the Political Deep Dive. It is our 5th anniversary show. We've been doing this for 5 years. And welcome back for tonight, Emily. Our co-hosts from the first show. Thank you so much for, when I started talking about doing the anniversary show, people were like, are we going to bring back hosts? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. We need to bring back hosts. I put out invites to Emily and Tyler Smith. Tyler said he might come by. Hopefully we'll see him. But if not, super happy to have Emily on the show because, the early shows, the show has gone through so many permutations where, we started out as a show that had 2 different parts. The first would be the interview show that I would do at 8 or 9 o'clock, and then we do the after hours show where Emily and Dan and Noah and Tyler and a few other people would join us, and
we would sing.
We would have a good time.
Speaking of, I was told this was a clothing optional episode.
Yeah, it was clothing optional.
I don't have any dollar bills.
So we end up with we for a while, and then I move over to the Libertarian Party for a while. The Libertarian Party broadcasts the main show, and then we go to we have the after hours show continuing when I went to the LNC channel for a little bit. When I left the Libertarian National Committee, I took the chair from there and went independent, and we combined the show and made the show just one long show, and really enjoyed doing the political deep dive these 5 years because we've done a lot of really good shows, a lot of interesting content that we've generated. Whether it is hey Craig and hey Janice, thank you so much for joining us tonight. we've had so much content that we've done. So I will put it to all of you. What are some of the favorite moments that you've had doing the show?
Well, do you remember when I got really mad and lost my temper?
Which time?
Good answer. Good answer. Well, I think about it every day because I don't like it when I lose my temper. But there was, we were talking Gaza, Israel, and you had made a suggestion that Israel didn't care about the hostages, or they didn't seem to care about the hostages. And I really lost it.
I thought it was.
I won't
was
apologize
it-
for. I won't apologize for passion, but I will apologize for expression. I'm sorry that I yelled.
Nah, never be sorry that you yelled. I mean, I know that you and it's Joe. Joe is in the house. What's up, Joe?
Hi, Joe.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Sorry I'm late.
No worries.
That's
No
all
worries. So I mean, you and AJ had a pretty good knockdown drag out on the air one time.
Was it about transports?
Yeah.
Shockingly, yes.
Yes.
Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah. I mean, it's. We should do that again. Not the knockdown drag out, but I think that there is spaces like this. I was thinking about this. I was having a long conversation with a friend of mine about inflation, and this guy, you've probably seen him on my page, Warren Lynch.
Oh yeah.
He's a real socialist.
Yeah.
And but a real socialist.
No, real. Yeah. He is definitely
Yeah.
a real socialist. Yeah.
And we were arguing about inflation, and he thinks that when prices go up, that's inflation, or he thinks inflation can be caused by corporations price gouging or other things. And I was trying to say, I'm like, we can't solve problems like this unless we can agree on sort of basic terminology. And inflation is only
Fake news.
Yeah, exactly. Inflation is only when the money supply is inflated, when the government devalues your current currency. Because the opposite of inflation is deflation. And you wouldn't say, oh, when all the companies lower their prices, we have deflation. That's not what That's not what happens. That's when the value of the money becomes more, and so you get paid less. Deflation for people always say, it'd be nice to have a little run of deflation. Deflation is terrible. It's really, really terrible because suddenly money is worth more. And so you start getting paid less to compensate for the value of what your employer or whoever might see it as. Anyway, but agreeing on terms is a big deal. And so, I think that we can have, at some point in time, we should have another conversation about sports, about trans issues, and figuring out where the common ground is, because I think there's a ton of common ground. And I think that the area of difference is a small part. But if we can't define the common ground, we can't get to the rest of it. So,
well, I know that when you do like a formal debate, like a Lincoln Douglas or a cross-examination style debate, one of the first things you do is define terms.
Yep.
And
would it surprise you to learn that I did high school debate?
Would it surprise you to learn that I did high school debate?
Did you do LD?
I did Lincoln Douglas. I did extemporaneous debate, and
I also did extemporaneous.
And I was horrible at it. So
and AJ, you said you did as well, right?
No, I said I was shocked.
Oh.
Totally, terribly shocked. Heart attack level.
That's funny. Yeah, no, well, that's exactly it. And a lot of times I think that it's important to teach those skills as much as anything else, because we're unable to have good arguments if we can't have arguments, and we can't have arguments if we can't figure out how to define terms. What are we going to agree upon? What are we going to disagree upon? Because, like Israel and Gaza, I think there's a lot of things that if we can get it to the right space, we find a lot of agreement. But I can't find many people who are willing to get to that stage. Who are willing to say, let's define terms.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I think what we've seen is we've all gotten into this and social media, and we've curated our list to the point that
Right.
we don't have a whole lot of opposition on our list. Like and for mental health reasons, that's probably good, and that you have like-minded people in your list and things like that. But if you're in like a space where we find ourselves in a political space, you kind of need to have those um, those dissenting opinions to at least I find it's good to have some challenging opinions. Now, I don't like it when there are people who are just MAGA and they completely lie about a position, or even the Democrats when they just completely lie about a position and they just kind of hold steadfast to that despite all of the evidence you would put up to it.
Right.
That's value, but there are people who have good faith. Yeah, Emily.
Well, I mean, I know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna just nerd out for a second. So
Do it.
this whole thing of definitions is relatively new to humanity. It's only a few hundred years old. And gosh, like even the modern day new, like the DSM-5, for example, lots of different definitions and it keeps on evolving. And so, I mean, I completely 1000% agree with Dan. If we don't have the basis of definition, we can't start anywhere. That's our foundation.
Yeah.
But it's completely understandable that we don't, because it's new. And that's why I think this kind of conversation is so important to have, so that we really spread that awareness of, well, let's talk about definitions.
We could also just have Dan and I get into some sustained contradiction. I like about an argument.
That,
I refuse to do that, Joe.
No.
You may remember that my earliest career was as a school teacher, and I worked with quite a few professionally diagnosed oppositional defiant children, and really, I learned a lot from them.
That's my band name, is Oppositional Defiant Children.
Nice.
my
Welcome
Swedish,
to Children Bed.
my Swedish death yacht rock band.
Swedish Death Yacht is a good name. I just watched a good movie with who was it in, where she's a reporter and she's on a Swedish yacht and she witnesses a murder, but she's the only person there who's actually supposed to be there as a witness, who's not in on it, and so everybody gaslights her the entire trip. It's pretty awesome.
So part of me wants to say that that's actually a real story.
Yeah, I think it is based on a real story.
Yeah,
I'll look it up now.
But yeah, it's I remember reading
it's Keira Knightley.
The news story about it. It's about this reporter was brought on a ship to essentially be a witness and an alibi on a murder.
Yes, the woman in cabin 10.
Yeah,
it's excellent.
But yeah, so AJ, what about you? What are your favorite memories of the show?
I really, really enjoy talking about Star Trek and aliens and science fiction with you guys. Because like you can hold your own. It's nice. Can't find that often. No, those were really fun episodes. Like we had a really good talk about travel in space and all of the things about science fiction that captured our imaginations. Because you not everybody's a science fiction fan. Not everybody gets it, and the world in Star Trek, we discussed that, and how far we are from that, but it was a good episode.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I like the fact that we wander, and I agree with what you're saying, AJ, because I think one of the things that we all like about the show is that there is intelligent conversation, and that's something that is so hard to find. Where people are knowledgeable on their topics, and if they're not knowledgeable, they're very willing to say, I don't really know. I mean, I can count on my hand the number of times in like regular conversations somebody says, "Oh, I don't know anything about that." But here, people all the time say, "Tell me more, tell me more," or a lot of times it's me saying, "Tell me more."
Yeah, I think curiosity is definitely a hallmark of the show, and I've always wanted to do a show that why we called it a deep dive is that we wanted to get into a topic and get beyond just the screeching and the headlines that we see in everyday news and talk about the issue and bring up facts and information about it so that you can make your decision on how you feel about the issue because I will be the first to tell you you can listen to me on an issue. There are issues that I think that I have high level advice on, but there are also issues that I'm completely naive to and are doing this show just to get more information on them. So I'll do research on the show during the week that we're doing the show, but
One,
I'm
yeah,
doing things for curiosity's sake myself.
one of the things that I love is when we have a conversation, and I just want to briefly answer AA's AA Love Letters thing, the new Star Trek show. I have two concerns about it. One, I'm really concerned that it's going to be Vampire Diaries, but Starfleet Academy. And two, I'm really concerned because I love Vampire Diaries. So
Okay, well there you go.
exactly, that's a real problem for me. I find, and I don't know if anybody else has this experience, but there's a lot of times that when I'm talking with other people, I will end up convincing myself of a different viewpoint because it is sort of the conversation. Like, I mean, I usually don't know, and this is a weird thing. Like the composition of what you're saying, you don't know, or at least for me, maybe it's just me. I don't know what I'm going to say when I start talking. Right, the mouth engages, and I know where I want to get to, but I don't see words or anything else in front of me on how I'm going to get there. As I'm sort of talking along that way. And it's a weird concept because if you're writing language, you know what you're going to write. You start writing, and by the time you're in the middle of this word, you know what the next word is going to be. And for me, speech is not like that. It's hard to explain what language is, but language, to me at least, is intimately tied with thought. And so a lot of times talking about something is how I convince myself. And I tend to talk to myself a lot. Back when I was a teacher, working with oppositionally defiant, emotionally disturbed, all sorts of kids with varying diagnoses, we would teach them self-cueing, where they were supposed to tell themselves, "You're doing a good job," or "You should brush your teeth," or stuff like that. And I tend to do that a lot. We used to say the staff at a psychiatric hospital is doing therapy, but in 8-hour shifts. And so I do a lot of self-cueing. And I think that's why when I have the ability to talk with people, I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm talking and I'm listening to myself at the same time. And I am definitely greatly cheered by the sound of the voice I love the most. So talking to myself tends to encourage me along the way.
Well, let's face it, Dan. Sometimes we're just the best company we can find.
Yeah.
Amen, Joe.
Well,
This is true.
I was just trying to explain this to my brother, who, if he's in the audience or not. Sometimes he is. But I was saying, the problem with talking to myself is that half the time I know what I'm going to say beforehand. He said, "Only half the time? That's a little worrisome."
I'm of the same mind in that I have a general plan of how I want a show to go. But for it to be an authentic discussion, I can't just plan the discussion down to the moment. I want to. I don't need to hear my voice, and I love hearing all of you. I love, I've often said that Dan is one of the most intelligent people I've ever had the opportunity to work with, and his eloquence on the ideas of liberty are some of the best that I know.
Move on.
Emily, you have been
Me fingers smell bad.
What is going on?
I'm trying to disprove that eloquence.
I'm just over here.
But yeah, Emily
shut
has
up, he was talking about me.
Emily has been a great friend for a number of years. I was so excited to meet her in 2018 at the New Orleans convention. I was like, I saw her from across the room. I was like, it's Emily.
We were both like, oh my god.
Yeah, and you know, we really got each other through COVID and all of the bullshit of that first year of COVID.
And then I abandoned you guys like a heartless bitch.
No, not at all. And so, talk a little bit about what you've been doing since leaving the show.
Living a lot of life. So when I left, I was living in Decatur, Illinois. I moved to the middle of nowhere, Illinois, called a little town called Ridge Farm. You know that dream that you have when you're like, oh gosh, I would love to live in the country, far away from the city. And then you do it. And you're like, get me the fuck out of this backwater bullshit. Sorry to Ridge Farm, but lived there for a few years and finally broke free. I had to live with my mom for about a year to help her recover after brain surgery.
Wow.
Yeah, she had a really weird, rare cerebrospinal fluid leak.
Ooh.
Like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So she had to recover from that, and I helped her and her husband. Got a new job, started a new career. When I left, I was working at Lowe's. Loved that job, by the way, but I started a career as a copywriter, which was just kind of a culmination of a dream. So I'm now living near Dayton and doing the copywriting thing.
Neat.
Are you still singing?
I haven't sung in a long time.
Emily has a beautiful voice.
Oh, I do. Thank you.
You do.
I paid a lot of money to have a beautiful voice. I got an undergraduate in my bachelor's degree is in music, actually, for vocal performance, opera singer. I couldn't figure out the vocal technique, and my career just never became anything.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, which is why I'm so thrilled to be a copywriter now, because now at least I'm in a creative field.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I got my graduate degree in 2014 in MBA, so I was able to make that work for me at least.
That's amazing.
Any karaoke?
That is amazing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Any karaoke?
Oh God, I am so terrible at karaoke, Dan. Like, maybe unless they did like Disney songs or 1950s, like.
Well, I will say that if you bring "Let It Go" to a karaoke and you rock it, that's a real accomplishment.
I could not even begin to fill Idina Menzel's shoes. That woman is a goddess, and I'm that she's not my voice type either. I'm more like Paige O'Hara from Belle, Beauty and the Beast. So
Nice.
Fair.
Like it. So when Emily left the show, one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show is, there's so many podcasts out there where it's just guys or just girls, and I wanted a female voice on my show. So I was, as the Libertarian Party started coming apart at the seams, and everybody started drifting away from each other. That weekend of the convention where the Mises Party took over, we were commiserating with AJ on all the shit that was going on, and I was like, people are going to need a place to go. People are going to need to, who are committed to the idea of liberty, need to understand that there is, there are things that you can do and continue to do. And I kind of pivoted the show to that. And I invited AJ onto the show, and AJ, I remember when I asked you, I was like, hey, do you want to be a co-host on the show? And you sent me a voice note, and you said, I talk like this. Are you okay with that? And I was like, I'm married to that. So
it's very charming.
I am way good with that.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah. So
you have to warn people about the banjo, otherwise they get scared and they turn direction. So we've got to Hi,
Care
Kara.
Bear.
Hi,
Kara's a,
Hody.
Yes,
Kara's
thank you for
a
welcoming my cornbread.
yeah. Kara's also a former co-host as well, my sister. So hi, Care Bear. But yeah, you have provided a unique voice because you have your experience in the healthcare field has helped us when we had talks about healthcare and what we should be doing now. Because right now, whether it's student loan debt or medical debt, people are up against it when it comes to all
Absolutely.
the stuff that's going on, and your advocacy for not only mental health but trans rights and things like that have been a welcome addition to the show. I've really enjoyed having you on the show as well, and so thankful for having your voice here with us.
Well, thank y'all. It is nice to be able to talk to people that have no reason to want to hate you. Does that make sense? Like, I was in Tennessee and they were just looking for reasons to hate me. Being able to talk to people from around the country with the LP, that helped like broaden things for me. I don't think that I knew a Jewish person before the LP, actually. Like, honest to goodness, I don't think I knew a Jewish person. I was in Middle Tennessee,
And now you know the truth that the LP is a front for the Jewish international conspiracy.
Space lasers. we have all the space lasers.
I think if y'all had the space lasers, like Dan especially, I think you would use it wisely. But no, it just opened my eyes to like there's something out there, and it gave me the courage, I think, to move from there to Colorado. I really do. It was just like, well, people move all the time. Like people move all the time. You talk to anybody in my small town that hadn't left, and they're like, "No, that's too big. You can't do that. That's too much." And it was like, well, but these people do it all the time. Like, what are you talking about? So it was happy. It was good to have the support. So
yeah,
thank y'all for that.
it was really cool being able to watch you grow and then
that was an amazing thing to watch.
You going to Colorado and helping do that and being in your corner and backing you all the way to do that. It was amazing to watch. I know Emily's done the same thing. You were in Oregon when
Ohio to Washington to Illinois back to Ohio.
Yeah, holy cow! Like just
See? All the time.
just crazy.
No, but it's no joke. You're so right. It's a huge thing. It's vastly expensive. I mean, I wiped myself out doing that, but I had some really cool experiences, and I would recommend it. Even though I came back home in the end.
I would recommend. Yeah, I mean, I would recommend, moving across the country to anyone. I wouldn't recommend the drive from Tennessee to Colorado because Missouri and Kansas exist. Oh my God. They're the most boring dystopian fucking like the fields of Kansas with the windmills and then the pumpy things that are doing something, but they're solar powered, so there's no people. There's no people for miles. It's creepy.
Speaking of drive, and on the opposite end of that, going from Ohio to Washington, driving through Idaho, big surprise. Twin Falls, Idaho, the most gorgeous place I have ever been. Incredible French fries, naturally. If you haven't been to Idaho, go to Idaho. It is so gorgeous.
I have not been to. It's one of the few states and I'm also a person who's moved quite frequently in various places. I've been in North Carolina. I was born in New York, lived in North Carolina, lived in New Mexico, lived in Missouri for a year, Atlanta for 14, and then up here in the DMV for the last 13 years now, so almost 14 years. It's getting a very very look at the country and untethering yourself, because I know like some of the most closed-minded people I've seen are the people who have never lived outside of their county. Like they're born here, they stay here and they die here, and they're the ones that when I lived in Georgia, they were the ones that I ain't gonna go to Atlanta. There's nothing but epithet here, epithet there, that live in Atlanta, and they ain't got nothing for me. And I'm just like, get out and do stuff. Travel is a political act. Quite honestly, once you expose yourself to things outside of your normal realm, it's hard to go back.
Something tells me that Dan will remember the Benjamin Franklin quote about travel. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't want to.
Well, the first story I was going to tell was I don't know if anybody here will remember who Andy Rooney is besides me and Joe.
I don't
remember. I mean, I know of him.
All right. So Andy talked about.
I can still hear him. You know what really bothers me?
Exactly right. And he did a bit where he was like, you know what really bothers me is license plates. Who comes up with this motto for license plates? Right? Who said that, Virginia is for lovers? Where do they do that? But imagine, you decide you're going to buy a Ferrari, but you live in Idaho. And there on your license plate, it says famous potatoes. So that was my little Idaho comment.
And it's funny
The
you
gem
say,
state.
Dan, Pennsylvania, they just came out with a new license plate. And, it's always said the Keystone State. They've
Right.
gone away from that. Now I think it just says, let freedom ring. And I'm thinking, hey, Pennsylvania government, why don't you follow your motto? But, enough of that.
Those words.
They spend millions of dollars to come up with a new slogan every couple of years. It's pathetic. And to Virginia's credit, they've had Virginia's for lovers since the late 60s, I think.
And I'm going to give Virginia the benefit of the doubt and say that they adopted that because of the Loving decision, which happened in Virginia.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually true.
I don't know that that's true, but
let's spread that rumor because it'll infuriate the white supremacists who live in Virginia now.
And then I think of New York State. For the longest time, they've had "I love New York," and I think they've kept it for a long time, probably along with a few other
Right.
slogans.
Yep. Although I do remember the Empire State being on their license plates for a while as too.
Yeah.
I lived in Albany, 69 to 72. That's how old I am.
Andy Rooney, way to go, buddy!
I posted the quote by Mark Twain. I think Mark Twain kind of captures my thinking about people staying where they are. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one's little corner of the earth all one's lifetime. So,
well, I'm going to throw this in. It sounds like all of you have been well traveled to some degree or another. Joe here has been in Pennsylvania all his life. And I once read a stat. Greetings.
Hey, Bear.
I once read a stat that said something like 90% of people never move more than 50 miles from where they were born. I found that startling. I've moved about 120. That's about it. And but I agree with you on travel. I still hope to be able to do a lot. I marvel at the fact that my 4 children, they have all traveled immensely more than their dear old dad. And I think that's a good thing for them.
All right, Joe.
Lost Kara for a second.
I'm going to put a crazy idea in your head.
Okay.
Your goal for next year should be to take the Foreign Service exam.
The Foreign Service exam?
Yep.
Enlighten me, sir.
So you take the Foreign Service exam, and based on your score, the State Department will offer you a job in an embassy overseas, and they will pay you.
I've taken it 3 times. I
will tell you my quick story.
Okay.
So I took it, 87. No, sorry. 92. And I was living with a woman at the time who was at the LBJ school, getting her master's, spoke fluent Mandarin and Cantonese. And I was just working as a school teacher.
Okay.
But we took the test together. And the first part is a written part. And I live for written tests. I have often gone to places where they're offering tests that aren't relevant to me, but just so I can sit down and take the test to see how I can do. And so As you might imagine, I crushed that test. And it's an interesting test. It's about Americana. What do you know about America? Not just our system of government, because there's a lot of questions about that, but talk about the Harlem Renaissance, Langston Hughes, questions like that. So I passed the written test. I got invited to go do the orals, and I went to D.C. to do it. Actually, it was in Alexandria, but you sit in a cohort, and there's 7 of you. And there are 6 testing stations. And over the course of the day, each person goes to a testing station. One person's on break. You go to all the different stations. And they say, this is a competitive environment. So don't talk about what's going on in the other stations. But at the end, we'll do one joint thing together. So we go and we do all the things. It was very interesting. One was you had to listen to a political speech and then write a 500-word synopsis of it. One was sort of a what improv people will recognize as "and then," where they say, "Okay, the scenario they gave me is you are working at the embassy in Egypt. There's a basketball tournament going on. You get a call in the middle of the night saying that the basketball team from James Madison University, their star player has been arrested and is in jail. What do? I'm like, well, the first thing I do is I call the ambassador. You get the answering machine. Now what? Et cetera, stuff like that. So a lot of role playing series like that.
Okay.
And then at the end, we have this one big exercise. So of course, I'm assuming I'm going to rock this test. I can't wait to find out how I did because I've never not rocked every test. And I get my test results back, and it's a little cryptic, but I didn't pass.
Okay.
I didn't get put on the Foreign Service Registry.
Okay.
And I went and talked to a friend of mine, actually a friend of my girlfriend's, who was in the Foreign Service. And I'm like, can you help me figure this out? He's like, well, let me see what I can do. And so he looked up a little bit and he said, here's the problem, Dan. You know how they say at the beginning, don't talk about the other tests? One of the people in each cohort is a plant. Okay. Their job is to try to get you to talk about the other stuff that's happening. And according to this, they've never seen anybody who keeps a secret worse than you.
Wow.
That's surprising.
Wow.
So the building that I worked in when I worked in DC was actually they do the test there now. They have a State Department office there. It's across from the main State Department passport office in DC. But yeah, it's interesting when you walk in and you see like a cohort of just really incredibly nervous looking people walking into their like clutching their coffees and hoping they don't mess up. But yeah, it's I never got to the oral exam. I did they did send me a last minute invite. I guess somebody who finished ahead of me in the testing had backed out, but I was I didn't get the notice until like the night before. And how it's like I can't get to DC in that amount of time. So yeah, it was unfortunate, but at least the test is interesting. Yes, it is a test that will
and they want a wide variety of people. So there was a guy in my cohort who was a shrimp boat fisherman from South Texas who was 68 years old, and he made it. Wow. And they're like, we would love to send you, an American commercial fisherman, to Vietnam, to Portugal, to lots of the places where they have, big fishing industries. And you get to talk to them about what it's like, and that sort of thing. You're going to have a better work. And I'm like, that's awesome. Those are totally the sort of people who should be representing the United States in embassies overseas.
Expertise in the local area. Yeah.
If you want to travel, Joe, I know you got some skills. You should take the Foreign Service exam. See what
I wonder.
Could keep a secret.
I wonder where they'd put me. Who knows?
Yeah. Just don't talk about the test, man.
The way it works actually is that they will offer you jobs. They don't place you. And then you have the option to take a job or not take a job.
But just don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, don't talk about Fight Club. Yeah. Young people tend to take dangerous postings, Afghanistan, stuff like that, because the opportunity for promotion is a lot higher. Older people say, gee, I hear Paris is lovely this time of year. I'd like to work for the U.S. Embassy in
I'm going
Paris.
to Tonga.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I would like to be placed in St. Lucia. Yes, let me work there year round. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, that would. I mean, there are definitely choice diplomatic postings, and not only just working in embassies. There's also consulate work and everything.
Yep,
like that.
exactly.
So,
You know,
Thoughtful
I'll
woman.
tell you, that's always been a dream of mine, and now I'm like,
you can do it.
Just
I'm a
take
full
the test.
anarchist. I don't want to work for the government.
I'm with you, Em. I am with you, Em. There's just something about that, but boy, is it tempting.
I know.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe Lieberland.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You can be the ambassador to Lieberland.
There you go.
But maybe they'd offer me, what was it? Maybe they'd offer me the ambassadorship in the country of Wakanda. I think
Wakanda forever.
Yes.
I don't think they're going to make a white guy ambassador to Wakanda.
Why not?
I'm a diverse kind of guy.
I mean, they had Bilbo Baggins there as the CIA representative.
So, and then we had Kara on for just a hot second. I guess she's having issues keeping us connected. But had her on various points of time, and we'll talk about a show that I had her on. Is one of my favorite shows. We'll talk about our favorite shows here in a minute. Emily was a guest on on the very same show. So
was it the one where she and I got into it?
No. But yeah, we'll talk about those in a minute. But
what show was that? What episode? I could watch.
I don't remember.
Kara's a lefty. She's very, very out and proud about being a Democrat and
well, but I mean, as I recall, the fight was about whether it's milk or water first into the tea cup.
Certainly not.
This is something my British friends write about all the time. If you're
Wow.
not familiar with the controversy.
Do you put milk in first or cereal in first?
I put cereal in first.
Yeah, I put cereal.
Cereal, but I don't eat cereal.
For tea, people get pretty mad about it. I like to put the milk in first because otherwise I fill it too full and then I don't really have room for the amount of milk that I like. And I would put the milk in to be right up at the top. And then as I try to move it, it spills and I'm all that sort of thing. And so, however, most tea drinkers will tell you that the milk has to go in at the end because tea is steeping. Tea is also for pussies. It's true.
Yes.
So, but we had
Arbor.
I
Brandy
wanted to
first
get
is
another
the
host
tasty.
to step in. I don't want to rely on everyone at the same time. I've never said that this is a death march that you must attend every week. So asked Joe to come co-host for us, and Joe has been a wonderful addition to the show, and glad to have him.
Too kind.
Even though I keep hoping that Joe will stop skiing by himself. Sorry, that's my solo ski joke about his last name. Sorry.
Wow. Okay. But all right. So I wanted to talk about my favorite shows. And I'm sure I've got them from kind of all over the 5 years, but my top shows that we've had.
There was The Whiskers on Kittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings.
What is going on with this?
No, nobody likes that joke.
No. All right. So my little Chiron is not populating. So my top favorite show, and it's actually the fans' choice because it is the most viewed show, was our episode, the Visiting the Red Light District with Mistress Scarlett Monroe.
We need to have her back on.
We do need to have her back on. She was a wonderful guest, talking about sex work, talking about her career, talking about all the FOSTA and SESTA and the impacts to the sex work industry. Just a wonderful show. I remember after the show, it was just like I couldn't sleep because I was like, that was such a good show. It's such a great guest. But Scarlett Monroe was a wonderful guest, and so happy that she agreed to come on. And yes, we will have to have her come back on sooner rather than later. Our second one is the one we did in, I want to say it was late May of 2024. We talked about Project 2025 before it really became a huge news story. AJ did a wonderful job scouring through, yeoman's work for scouring through Project 2025, and she did like word counts about how many times did this word appear in the Project 2025, and we went through some of the more draconian measures that uh, were being talked about in Project 2025, and within a week, Trump is disavowing it. That this isn't what we're seeing. All of this stuff, all
Yes.
this stuff that Project 2025 promised to bring about in a second Trump administration. We're seeing them at least try to do it, and it's. I was proud that we were kind of one of the first to really tackle it and do that deep dive and do a really um, long look at what Project 2025 was and what it meant to everybody, and what it would mean to everybody. The next one is the Women in Politics episode. And this is we had Emily and we had Kara. Emily was the uh, campaign manager for Kim Ruff's presidential campaign.
And
We had Kim Ruff on the air as well. We also had a delegate from West Virginia who just recently been defeated in the previous election, Sammy Brown. It was a great episode where we really dove into, what the difficulties of as running as a woman in American politics today, and especially like the misogyny within American politics. Whether you're successful or not, the price that is paid to be in politics, whether you're a man or a woman, there is certainly a price to pay. I remember Kara talking about some of the things that the lost relationships that she had after her run for state house in New Mexico. It's politics is a rough business, and I fear it's gotten worse when it comes to women in politics. And we've seen some really shitty things happen. Now we're introducing violence into the whole equation as well. So it's been a rough few years. But yeah, that was a wonderful episode. I really enjoyed doing that one. The next one I called Chasing Dragons. We had Chase Oliver on. And Chase is a big fan of Dragon Con. It's a Comic Con type convention, or it's a really multi genre convention that takes place in Atlanta. And he talked us through, all the things that he does, because he does all the dressing up, the cosplay and all that stuff. And, how it's a community in and of itself. And, for those few days in Atlanta that they're all together, that it's just one large community. And it was really nice to see him talk about this event that he's absolutely passionate about, and establishing that relationship with Chase. And he actually announced his presidential campaign on our show like 6 months later, and it was really cool. And remember, in 2024, the Libertarian Party had Chase Oliver as their presidential candidate, and their vice presidential candidate was Mike Termott. Those are the only two Libertarian presidential candidates who appeared on our show. So if you are thinking about running for president, whether it's in the Libertarian Party or another party, you should come on the show and talk to us, because we're cool like that. Next one is I had my friend. It was a solo show with me and my friend Adria Spadavecchi, who is a early childhood education teacher who teaches overseas. She's taught in Turkey. She's currently teaching in Cambodia. She's taught in Russia and Poland. But for a couple of years, not 2019, 2020, she taught in China. So we had an episode on COVID in China, and she described the harrowing escape from China that she had to do, because if somebody in your building tested positive for COVID, they locked your building. Now you could not leave your apartment. She talked about getting into China during COVID, and how they put them in a hotel, and they were for 2 weeks, and they were isolated and all that stuff. And then once they got their apartment, yeah, if somebody tested positive, you were locked down. And the the social credit system they have there, and the way that they monitored you on the apps on your phone, after doing that episode, I was like, yeah, what we did in for COVID in the United States was kind of dumb, but certainly glad we didn't do what we did that China did, because that would have not gone well. Six, I've got the June 2024 presidential debate live stream, and this is when AJ and I watched Joe Biden
Just
lose
have a
the
complete
presidential
fucking
election.
meltdown.
Yeah, just
I mean,
went
he
off.
didn't lose the presidential election. He lost the ability to run for president.
Yeah, he did. I mean, and honestly, I think he, that by going that long into the campaign season,
Well, it was
and
crazy.
only a month before the Democratic National Convention, and all of a sudden, this guy is drooling into a cup during the presidential debate.
Yeah.
I think he does cost the Democrats the presidential election, because then they decide to just anoint Kamala Harris as the presidential candidate, and without they could have done an open convention. They could have done. It would have been hard to.
Primaries. They knew all along. I was
Yeah.
I was actually working as Chase Oliver's body person that day in Washington, D.C., ferrying him around from event to event. And we stopped to watch, and then he got onto a chat watching the debate. And we were just dumbfounded, because I think certainly amongst libertarians and amongst people who've been watching, we're like, Biden isn't that sharp anymore. But I don't think any of us were expecting him to be so unbelievable. I mean, Trump was dumbfounded at how inarticulate. I mean, there's a point where Trump's like, I don't know what he just said there, and I don't think he knows either. And it was 100% right. I mean, It was crazy. And the thing that he certainly, hurt them. But the thing that I think people woke up to is that there had clearly been a conspiracy to conceal from the American people how debilitated Joe Biden was.
Yeah.
And that
he's not. I mean, now watching it, you're like, he's not. I mean, compared to current Trump, I don't know that he's that much worse off at this point. Like, I think that they're kind of both.
He's well rested now.
Well, he's combating wokeness. He's combating wokeness by falling asleep during the
Well, honestly, if you are in an office, right, you hold that political office, but you also have to campaign. Those are two separate jobs.
Yeah, they are.
So he was working two jobs during the debate. I am not excusing that at all. You can see my expressions on that show.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No,
I was not a Joe Biden fan. Has anyone read her book yet? Because I'm really considering reading her book just to get an idea.
I'm about halfway
I did see an
through
interview with her and Jon Stewart that was phenomenal.
It's interesting. So she really ripped on Josh Shapiro, and considering how much of a terrible choice Tim Walz ended up being, it seems rather strange that she would do it. She complained about the fact that Shapiro had certain demands of, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I help
green
you every
M&Ms for every one red.
Exactly. Right. The Van Halen thing. My favorite follow on social media right now, my favorite celebrity follow is my childhood crush, Valerie Bertinelli, who has just become, out of nowhere, a really good spokesman for a lot of stuff. She was the first person I saw sort of posting pictures of herself at 15, saying I was a child in response to Megyn
Kelly,
yeah, craziness. But she also related the story that Van Halen, in their contract, said that there was to be a fishbowl of M&Ms in their green room, and all the blue ones or all the green ones were supposed to be taken out. And exactly. And I just like, and she talked about the fact, she's like, it wasn't really that they didn't like the M&Ms, because you can't tell the difference between a color of an M&M. It was to see whether or not the people had actually read the rider. And interesting statement. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The final one that I have of my favorite ones was the interview I did with Tara DeSisto, following being harassed by Josh Smith during Christmas and interviewing her about all the bullshit that she had to deal with, despite being an absolutely phenomenal development director of the Libertarian Party, bringing in tons of money to fund all the things that we were doing at that point. Just being harassed off of the Libertarian Party and out of the Libertarian Party, and kind of, and she did the interview while being sick with COVID. Like we actually had to delay because I interviewed her separately, and she had to delay it a couple days. Was like, I'm just not feeling well. And all of a sudden, she is, hey Liz, she was like, yeah, I had COVID and I was laying on the floor. Like, oh well, that's I'm happy to interview you anytime. But that was a wonderful show. Kind of really gave, I think, opened people's eyes to kind of I think a lot of people understood the dysfunction of the Libertarian National Committee, but that one really displayed how the Libertarian National Committee was fucking with the Libertarian Party as a whole. So that was a frustrating time in my life. That was why I was off of the LNC at that point.
It's such an insane statistic that is so easily demonstrated. The Libertarian Party has always been in a 4-year cycle, that their best fundraising year is the presidential election year, and their worst fundraising year is the year immediately following the presidential election. However, 2020 was a great fundraising year, even though it was COVID and we didn't think it would be because of Tara. And then 2021, they raised more money in what was supposed to be their worst year than they raised the year beforehand.
Yeah, it was just amazing.
We were on a roll back then, weren't we? We were on a roll.
I mean, the best fundraiser. And, I'll speak a little bit just about that. I still get mad about it because when I hired Tara, I hired her because, well, first of all, the LNC had given me a directive that I had to hire a director of development. I actually wasn't ready to do that because I was unhappy that we didn't have somebody inside who would become our future director of development. But I hired Becca Congdon because I thought she will be the future director of development. Then once I had her in place, I was ready to hire a person who she would work for and then train her up. So we hired her. So many people in the LNC thought that the LNC should be a jobs program for their families. And they said, oh, you could hire my cousin, you could hire my brother, you could hire whoever to be the director of development. And I'm like, guys, I have as a requirement, this person has to have raised at least $1 million in a year because, our yearly operating expenses are 1.5 million.
I raised some fish sticks one time.
and people accused me of making standards that would prohibit me from hiring a libertarian. And I'm like, I'm supposed to hire a fundraiser. That's what we want. And it was such a big deal. She got such a raw deal at the end, but not surprisingly, she has landed on her feet, and we should recommend her company, Highwire Strategies, for people who want to raise money for events in the future.
Yeah. Just some other shows that I've really enjoyed doing, mainly around foreign affairs. The Canadian election previews I've done. I did one with Tim Moen when I was on the LP channel, who is the Libertarian Party chair in Canada. And then the one we just did with Tony D'Orazio this summer, previewing the Canadian elections. Learning about Canadian politics is always fun. U.S.-Iran relations show that I did towards the beginning of the show, about 5 years ago now. And then our favorite books and music shows that we did. I want to start bringing more of that stuff back over the next few years, next year, because we have. It's been hard because you have so many news stories coming out every week. It's so hard to abandon a news story when a big thing happens. But I think learning about our finding what Dan's favorite books are and finding out what AJ's favorite music is. These are good things. It's good to talk about music as we can even talk about music as a political movement because
Well,
there's
let's do
really
that.
many.
That's actually become my political point of view. After running Ken's and John's campaigns, I ran myself into the ground. I was working a 40-hour job while doing that.
Whew.
I physically harmed myself, and I'm still paying for it. But I saw such ugliness, and it felt like all of the good that all of these people, like that campaign was over 250 volunteers nationwide, and all of this good, all of this effort was thrown into a vast black pit of corruption, and not the LNC, just like the political landscape.
Yeah.
And I was so frustrated by that. I had to take time to recover my health. And then that sort of started my path to becoming an anarchist. And I've landed on the best thing that I could possibly do for the planet is be the change that I wish to see in the world. I could talk myself until I die, and I will make more impact by just being.
Yep, I agree with that.
I mean, that is the most anarchist and most libertarian thing to do is to be the change that you wish to see. It's we that is the one thing that we as libertarians get. Why do you want to get into government? Well, we like to make that change, but I think the most effective communicators are the people that live authentically and don't force it on other people. The most convincing religious figures are the people that live authentically, offer a path, but they don't force it on anybody. Communicators throughout, doesn't matter what you're doing, music, literature, or this, living authentically, living your life and showing people, this is the life I live, and this I would hope that you find some value in what we're doing here. So, but yeah, well said, Emily.
Sorry if I overtook you.
No,
I heard my end. I'm like, oh, I gotta talk about it.
no, that's awesome. I mean, that's I mean, that's one of the things I miss about you.
One of the things that I like that we've talked about a lot is we talk about a lot of sort of the dysfunction in the liberty movement.
Yeah.
And I think that we've done a good job of calling out a lot of bad actors and bad culture because, there is, and whenever I say something like this, I say I'm going to always feel bad for mansplaining. But there is, the Libertarian Party does have a man problem. There are a lot of dicks in the party, and there's no easy way to address the fact that those people use their dicks to try to fuck everybody else out of the party.
Yeah, you're nailing it, Dan. I know. I came to the party late. I joined in 2016.
Yep.
Ran for office later, held the treasurer's position in the state party, and met some wonderful people. I mean, I made some great friends in the Libertarian Party. This liberty movement's great, but I was always amazed. We attract a lot of people because we're the liberty movement. Like we were mentioning. All right, trans individuals. They have a home here because they want to be able to live their lives. We had Mr. Scarlett on. Sex workers are attracted to the party because they want to live their lives. And then, as you said, we attract some idiots, unfortunately, and I'm sure every party has them. But unfortunately, I was surprised by how much screen time, FaceTime we gave some of the idiots in the party. And just the way the structure was, it was kind of inevitable, which was sad.
That brings up two really interesting points that I would like to discuss with these great minds. So
Right.
Dan, you mentioned it was a specific man problem. And then Joe, you mentioned, oh shit, why would I just now forget it?
About
it was
people that were attracted and then the idiots we had.
Oh, the voices. Why do we give voice to
Yes.
people? So
that was our problem. You think about it, Em.
Yeah, is it a man? Is it really a man problem, or is it just a boundary problem?
Yes.
Why are we letting people talk when they're assholes?
Absolutely.
Shut up.
I cannot tell you enough. I remember as I saw the Mises types rising and asserting themselves more, I remember thinking there's got to be a way we can just put a lid on these people so that they don't make more trouble than they're worth.
But then you have to out asshole the asshole in many instances, and then so it's a really hard thing to do.
I mean, I think for the show, part of the reason why I wanted to start the show was that there are so many voices out there being assholes, and I wanted to highlight people and highlight issues and present them in such a way that we're not trying to be a dick. I will. If somebody does something that says something on the show that is bigoted, or does something stupid, I'm going to call them out because that should not stand. It should not. Yes, you have the right to say something, but I also have the right to tell you to shut the fuck up.
Yes,
I got a stump speech.
So that's funny that you mentioned consequences and accountability, because I think that's what the problem was with the LP.
Yeah,
there were no consequences for being a predator.
Yes,
There were no consequences.
There were more
mistreating multiple women across the country at the same time. There was no accountability either, because even if these people were caught and screenshots and we've got all these mutual friends and oh my fucking god, no, they're still a paying member of the Liberty Party. They have just as much right to be here.
Yeah, and there was you're nailing it, AJ. Here in PA, the bylaws were written, and they were historically written, and they were then exposed as we grew to be very weak. I know I spoke with somebody who's in the Indiana party, and Mises evidently never took a good toehold there because their bylaws were strong, or they were able to keep them out. That's what that party has to evolve to, and I don't think they'll be able to do it anytime soon in the next 20 years.
I brought this coin out for this purpose. Part of it's a stump speech that I give sometimes. Liberty and tolerance are two sides of the same coin. I don't have freedom of speech if you guys aren't willing to tolerate it. If we were all in a room together, you guys could shut me up by physically holding me. Well, I have the strength of 10 men, so you couldn't hold me down, but
yeah, you do.
That part of it is for the deep thinkers in the liberty movement. We recognize the idea. What's up, Craig?
What's up, Craig?
We recognize that tolerance is an important part of liberty.
Thank you for that, yeah.
The part that we haven't realized, and I'm only realizing now, is that tolerance isn't the same as approval. And in fact, tolerance specifically means living with things that you don't like. Me letting you do the things that you like, and this is from the stump speech that I used to give in Massachusetts when I ran for office. I would go to Massachusetts and I would knock on people's doors and we'd get in a conversation. They'd say, "Oh, I'm very tolerant." I'm like, "Well, why do you think you're tolerant?" They're like, "Well, I'm in favor of gay marriage." I'm like, "This is Massachusetts, right? We actually were the second state to legalize gay marriage. We were ahead of everybody else. You're not tolerant in Massachusetts to say that you are supportive of marriage equality. But tell me how you feel about people's gun rights, because that's something that you don't approve of. Tolerance is saying that people get to do the stuff that you don't approve of, but you think they have a right to do." And the problem with having that in a political party is that then you can tolerate people and they do all sorts of shit that you don't want to happen. And you can tolerate them having the right to speak, but you don't have to give them the right to address an audience.
Yeah, and
Is that
I
what
think
happened? You
well,
think?
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people, AJ talked about consequences. There are actually more consequences for the people trying to speak out against the bigotry. Like if I
Yeah,
if
one of the reasons
remember,
I don't have the Facebook anymore is that right
yeah,
there.
at one point Josh Smith had platformed some guy who blamed Jews for everything. And I said, yeah, and he's on the LNC. This is a sitting LNC member. And I was like, this is not really a proper thing for people to platform this guy. I mean, he's talking about Zyklon B as being the final solution. Like there's some really shitty thing that this guy, Ryan something, I can't remember his name, but was pushing, and Josh was platforming this guy. And I mentioned it, and I was being called a gatekeeper. And that I had problems. People would just harass me, and I got bombarded by stuff. That was part of the reason why I ended up leaving the LNC was just the bullshit that went on with it, because people who were trying to hold people accountable for things were being were facing more consequences than the people doing the shitty things.
Because there was an organized effort
I can't hear
to really harass
anybody.
the people who were doing it.
Craig, we can
Craig.
hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, Craig.
Well, you can't hear us, so you can't hear us say.
Oh.
Oh,
that's so silly.
The thing is that we can agree to disagree. I don't 100% agree with that, because I think that there are certain things that we do draw a line and say it's not okay. And for me, go ahead, Em.
I'm sorry, and a big part of this problem of giving voice to people who really didn't need to be talking, I mean, it ended up being enormously dilatory at conventions.
Oh God,
and
yes.
Even if in isolation it wasn't, it added up, and it made business so hard to get accomplished. And not only are we fighting the battle of trying to get work done, we have to fight tolerating voices that we know are up to no good.
Absolutely. And there we saw the rise of Mises, and they those idiots just attracted more idiots to the point where they overwhelmed the party. We're truly sad that we were in a position to let that happen.
Yeah, it made it untenable to be at a convention.
Yes.
I think this isn't just isolated to the Libertarian Party, though. This is an American society issue.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'll just give a kind of heavy story of my own to illustrate this. In 2016, I was raped, and I reported it to the police, but I was treated like I was lying, like I was a slut, like I asked for it. That was actually said to me. I was put in an interrogation room in a corner with the only path to the door being blocked by this huge police officer. And I'm a victim reporting a crime.
Yeah.
And they wonder why ACAB? That's why.
Yep.
So
100%.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
So
Emily.
sorry
we
you had
appreciate
to-
the trust that's involved.
I hope to get someday, I hope to give a TED Talk about that.
Yeah.
I want to scream it
That would be
loud
consistent.
and long. Because fuck that guy. Fuck the Riverside Police in Dayton, Ohio.
Yep.
How dare you?
You tell them. You tell them.
I hate to broadcast pain, but if you ever want to do that show, I will.
I'm
let you
getting
talk.
there.
You're getting there, Dad.
Yeah.
Whenever you feel ready.
It's been a
That's
long,
fine.
healing road, and that's the first time that I've actually talked about that outside of friends. So I'm getting there someday.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm getting braver about my trauma. So, but yeah, we
I still can't hear you guys. I apologize.
Craig.
We can hear you, Craig.
We hear
I don't-
Craig.
Hello, Craig.
Ooh. Craig, do you have headphones?
Pantomiming. Well,
What's Brandon
We're
talking?
going to turn
into
on the
the
closed
He's gonna go
caption.
get his headphones.
there you go. I wanted to have Craig on because we're about to do the quiz here in a sec.
It isn't inviting women, Liz. You're
No,
absolutely
not at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've heard a rumor that we're not doing the news quiz, and instead we are actually doing a math quiz.
No. No. Okay.
Signing
Dave
off.
Valente will never be involved in a math quiz.
Okay.
I can't pay attention. I can't count that high. So, all right. So, are y'all ready to do the quiz?
It's
Ready
quiz
when you are.
Let's do it.
It is quiz time. Let's see if we can get Craig on.
It's Christmas time in the city.
Craig, can you hear us?
Is anyone talking?
Yes, we're talking.
I can't hear you.
All talking.
Right.
Everybody's
Put on
talking.
headphones. Put on headphones. You put on headphones. Can you type to him?
Yeah, hold on a sec.
Yeah, send him a message. Tell him to put on headphones. In the meantime, I learned an amazing piece of trivia the other day. I can't remember it for the life of me now.
Do you want to hear what the English assignment was for this weekend?
Yes. What is the English assignment?
We got to watch the 1982 classic Blade Runner.
Oh, very cool.
Great movie.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen it. We all have
young
strong
Harrison Ford. Oh my fucking God.
Have you seen it before?
Such a good movie.
Yes. Had you seen it before?
Yes.
Do you think? I mean, I suppose we can open this up now, right?
I'm going to feel this so much.
Is Deckard a replicant?
I don't think so.
Go back.
And the reason why is because in the fight, when you are fight or flight as a replicant, I don't know that they would be able to necessarily control that. I feel like him being able to hunt them down, that it's a human, like whatever. But I think that the strength not coming out to save him, I think that proves that he's human.
All right. I think that is the big question about the movie. I mean, it's obviously
the big question.
Holds up.
What do you think?
I think that he is a replicant.
Well, I think the big question is it a Christmas movie?
Have you seen the next movie? Does the next movie tell me?
I have seen the next movie. The next movie does not tell you. However, probably don't know is, have you seen Alien with Sigourney Weaver or Aliens?
Yes.
Series?
Yes.
She's
queen of my fucking soul, man. Yes.
Those movies are continuations of the Blade Runner series. So the company that she works for, Wayland, the synthetic person that is in Prometheus, and remember the synthetic person on the Nostromo, which is the ship that Sigourney Weaver's on in the very beginning, is a Wayland whatever, which is a continuation of the line of replicants that Deckard is hunting down.
Shut the fuck up. Are you serious?
All made by Ridley Scott.
I'm going to have to tell Colin and go down a rabbit hole. This is crazy. I was just excited to watch a freaking cool movie for English class.
It's a great movie. No question about it. Harrison Ford. I will say that the interesting thing, like I watch a lot of reaction movies, and I'm going to list two actors about this. Nothing amuses me more than Gen Z and millennial women saying, y'all, I don't think there is an equivalent to either Harrison Ford or Patrick Swayze from 80s movies. And I didn't realize it because I didn't watch those movies in that time period. But Patrick Swayze in Dirty Dancing, that is an amazing, that's everything you want out of a male sex symbol.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
It is. Like 6-year-old me, when my mom was cleaning houses, there was a bootleg copy of Dirty Dancing on a VHS tape. And I watched it every single time she cleaned that fucking house. So 6-year-old me's like, don't leave a baby in the corner.
I would have thought
Does that
that a
explain more
bootleg
about me?
tape with Dirty Dancing on it would have been porn. So
That might be my band name.
I will.
Bootleg Dirty Dancing VHS.
If y'all cycle through, like I do, your various streaming subscriptions, the next time you have access to Netflix, there's a series on there called The Movies Who Made Us. And one of them they have in there is The Making of Dirty Dancing. And that is an unbelievable story. It's essentially 3 women who are like, we got a great idea for a movie. We're going to make it. We didn't get much money. Doesn't look like it's going anywhere. It's going to go straight to video, but they believe in it. And they keep pushing it and pushing it. And it becomes one of the most successful movies of all time.
Yeah,
And the one last thing about it is that, so they didn't want to cast Patrick Swayze because he didn't have any dancing on his resume. Patrick Swayze didn't put that he actually had been a professional dancer on his resume because he was afraid of getting cast into only dancing roles.
Interesting.
And finally, he like let it slip
That is
out that he
so
actually
funny.
could dance. And they're like, well, then you're our guy. Yeah. Anyway, the rest is history. Let's do the quiz.
Let's do the quiz. So we got context clues. We got bastards.
I'll get everything wrong.
Fabergé egg.
Yep.
That was in the news this week. And dolphins.
Yep.
Or porpoises. This quiz has
Assholes. Look,
a
assholes.
purpose in life. Question number 1: what type of severe weather event caused major travel disruptions across the U.S. this week? Thunderstorms, tornadoes, winter storms, or flooding?
Gotta be winter storms. How much snow did you get in your area, Dave?
Just a dusting, really.
Oh, we got
We got 5 inches.
Sometimes you need a good 5 inches.
Wow.
I was going to say sometimes you need a little more than that.
8 inches out in Colorado.
Sometimes. I mean, to each their own. Yeah, I think it was winter storm.
Had to be the Arctic blast.
Yeah.
Correct. Severe winter weather across the U.S. caused widespread flight delays and road accidents, particularly in the Midwest and along the East Coast. Yeah, we just got sideswiped. Lost power for a little bit, but it was just, it was actually the worst part of it was that we got more sleet than anything. Question number 2: which 2 states did the Bastard administration target this week in its expanded immigration operations? Minnesota and Louisiana, Texas and Georgia, Florida and Ohio, or Arizona and Nevada?
I think we know this because of all the anti-Somali stuff that came out of it. It's Minnesota and Louisiana.
Yeah, they got invaded. Yep, immigration crackdowns began this week in New Orleans and the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul in Minnesota.
It's crazy too because New Orleans post-Katrina was rebuilt by migrant labor. It's they owe an incredible debt there.
There's the irony.
Yep.
I mean, look, this whole all of this is just, first off, it just fucking pisses me off that and you're seeing so many people who are actual U.S. citizens, being detained and roughed up, and they talk about due process and that the illegals don't get due process, but the problem with that thing is you're bringing in a whole lot of American citizens. We've seen American citizens get deported down to CCOT it just. And the lack of due process and the whittling away of due process. We've talked about that for years when it comes to just court decisions whittling away at due process. But this administration has just said, you know what, fuck due process. So we're not only seeing that with that, but what they're doing with the Venezuelan boats. There's no due process there. It's absolutely frustrating to watch this shit go down.
I divorced myself from the news on purpose. I love it. I'm so much happier. But I was thinking about that issue today just because in my Facebook feed, I'm seeing this ad for a shirt that says, no one's illegal on stolen land. And I'm like thinking like, okay, we walk on native land. I get that. But then, that's what mammals do. Mammals fight over territory. And I thought I would bring this to this discussion. See what y'all think about that.
I mean, like for me, it's all about the right to one of the most fundamental human rights is the right to self-determination.
Mhm.
The right to decide how to live your life, in the manner in which you live your life and where you live your life. I agree with the sentiment that we're on stolen land. Quite honestly, everybody on this continent, whether you are the most ancient of Native American families to the person who just came over yesterday, we're all immigrants here. No one developed on the on the continental United States. We all came here at some point or time in the other. The white people that run this government right now, the jars of mayonnaise that run this government, have no greater claim on this continent, this country than anybody that's here. So that's my feeling on it.
The part that's really
I
crazy
have a
about it.
thought. So I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead, AJ.
I do have a thought. You'll notice that, especially MAGA and whatnot, they only go back in their history to like the Civil War, right? Because before the Civil War, it's a little bit more difficult to be the right kind of white in this country.
Male
So
landowner.
because like when the Irish people came, the ones with freckles, they were not white enough and they were mistreated, right?
Yeah.
So you'll note like JD Vance, who I like hate so much. He will go back and be like, well, I have more right to be here than anyone else. My ancestors fought in the Civil War. Well, let's go before the Civil War. When did they get here? And no one in that particular group wants to go any further back. Does that make it? Do y'all get what I'm?
Very convenient, isn't it?
It's always
it
has
just
to be selective.
choosing.
Yeah, you're they want to be able to tell you who the right white person is or the right person is.
Right.
They'll carve out excuses. Melania is somehow exempt from until the divorce. Melania should be exempt from all that shit.
There's this big push right now about
birthright
not allowing people to have dual citizenship.
Oh yeah.
But Melania is a dual citizen, as is Barron Trump.
Yep.
There is a fundamental aspect. I mean, first of all, it is 100% true to say that the Constitution says nothing about immigration. There are no federal powers of immigration anywhere in the Constitution. And what that is supposed to mean is that if there are no federal powers, then those powers are supposed to belong to the states. And that's the way immigration was run for a long time. But another point in this issue is that the fundamental tenet of socialism is when the government controls the means of production. And right now, the government is controlling immigration to control the labor market. And we would think it was wrong all the time. We talk about it being wrong when teachers' unions use a power of union to prevent non-union members from being hired as teachers, or name whatever union you like. Teamsters prevent non-Teamsters from being hired as truck drivers, or our friend Warren Lynch, who we were talking about earlier, got beat up by Teamsters in Boston because he was on a film crew, but he wasn't a union member. That sort of shit, we all say that's completely bullshit. Yeah. But then we say, but we're going to use our power of our union, the Union of States, the United States. Then that's how we're going to keep these workers out and keep it select. Oh, everybody's fine with socialism then.
Yeah.
Socialism always bad.
Speaking of stupid stuff that the government's doing, which large company recently sued the Trump administration over tariffs? Walmart, Home Depot, Target, and Costco. We've had several people already answer this one. That is Costco. Interesting case because they're not only asking for the tariffs to be abrogated, but they're also asking for refunds on the money that they spent on tariffs. Costco was listening to a story about it this week, and Costco has actually been kind of biting the price increases, knowing that the Supreme Court is likely going to reverse the tariffs. And so they would be due a lot of money from the federal government if their lawsuit is successful.
I mean, you say that they are suing for damages.
Yeah,
because they've
they're
been eating
suing.
the price.
Yeah, well, they're suing for damages because they've been eating the price, and several other companies have joined this lawsuit as well. So Costco was the first to go into the lawsuit, but there have been a few other companies that have joined. So Costco's suit alleges that the administration overstepped its authority to impose sweeping tariffs this year. True. And the Warehouse Club is demanding its money back if the Supreme Court ultimately strikes them down. So this is an interesting thing. I mean, again, the country is $38 trillion in debt. And
Yep.
and piling it on as we speak. They're probably speeding towards 39 at this point.
Couple points I'll make. I'm pretty sure that half of that debt was accumulated under the two Trump administrations, and two, you guys know I'm in accounting. I'm a CPA, but I've stepped away from that a couple years back. My retirement career is I'm now in retail. I sell furniture, and it's a fun job. But guess what? January 1, Trump tariff, 30% on all upholstered furniture. So if any of you are thinking about going to get some furniture, I'd
Do
do
it
it in
now.
a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do it now.
Joe, I
that's-
got another job to tell you about afterwards.
Sounds
A
good.
friend of mine bought a furniture consignment store
Okay.
in St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh, I should go there.
Well, it's funny because she wants to sell the business. Her child is on the spectrum, and the quality of services available in the U.S. Virgin Islands are nothing like back in mainstream U.S. I'll follow up with you on Facebook about it.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Question number 4. The average price of a gallon of gas in the U.S. dropped below which level this week? $2, $3, $5, or $7?
3?
3.
I would say 3 as well, because I mean that's what it is local. I mean that's
I paid
around
for
that
that.
$3.
But let me point out, well, I guess it's this week, but all the numbers above 3 are also mathematically correct answers to this question.
This is true.
However, let's
What
say
is truest? Randy says 3. Randy's our Jeopardy champion. So
I bought a lot of gas recently, so I would say 3 as well.
I've got a lot of gas
I
recently.
bought
So.
gas
Nice.
today. It was less than 3.
All right.
All right. The national average of gas recently dropped below $3 a gallon, which Donald Trump has been saying it's $1.99. Well, technically below $3 a gallon, that is not the price of gas.
Circle hallway.
It is interesting. Gas is cheaper, and even though we know that things are heading towards an economic cliff, the economy is remarkably stable. There is
It's kind of one of those things that it will be until it's not.
Yeah.
there's a fund called the VIX, the VIX, the Volatility Index, and if you look at it, it's as low as it's been in a long time. It's just
Interesting.
it's crazy.
All right.
Just out of curiosity, what was the price of gas when you started driving?
Oh God.
Mine was 99 cents.
55
I think it was
cents.
Yeah. When I started driving, I want to say it was like 65, but it was like, I think kind of after there was a period there in the Clinton administration where they really started strangling down on the price of gasoline there for a little bit. It got really, really affordable because it had been above that before I started driving.
I did not start driving until much later in life. So I was 19 when I got access to my first car.
I was like,
Although I guess I didn't get my license until anyway, but gas was, I remember it was under $1 because I was working a job where I was making $5.50 an hour. And at the end of every week, I was on fumes for paycheck and stuff like that. And so I would be scraping through to find enough change to put enough gas into my car
Oh, yeah,
so that
absolutely.
I could go and pick up my paycheck.
It's amazing. You talk about things like rated the couch cushions, buy a half a gallon of gas to get me through the rest of the week. And now, like, you raid the couch cushions, it won't even get you the numbers turning on the gas pump at this point.
I remember so clearly too that you could get a 6-pack of Olympia for like $1.20. Just the worst beer out there, but awesome.
All right, question number 5. What is the name of Pantone's color of the year for 2026? Radiant Orchid, Chili Pepper, Peach Fuzz, or Cloud Dancer?
Cloud
Randy says it's
Dancer.
Cloud Dancer.
It is.
What
I'm
is
pretty sure it's Radiant Orchid.
It's
but-
fucking white.
is Pantone like a fingernail polish?
No,
No.
Pantone is like the international color.
Oh, okay.
Like there's like a number system that they have for colors. It's
Okay.
yeah. I could.
Isn't Pantone also like a brand of shampoo though or something?
No, that's
Pantene.
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 Okay.
Pantene.
All right, thank you.
Like the Pantone color for the blue here is like a 055 FF. So if you ever wanted to duplicate the colors here, that's the blue that you see in the
Okay.
But yeah. So Cloud Dancer for white. It's white. Just say it's white.
I said that.
Just say
Fucking
it's
white.
white.
Yeah.
Ugh. You've let me down, Pantone.
So let's see. We've got.
I'm white. Y'all.
We've come up with
White,
new
y'all.
names.
Whiter
We've come up with
It's
white.
like a Kardashians
We've come up
home.
with it's white.
white.
We've come up with fucking white. We've got some great names going here.
Fucking white. Yeah.
Do you guys know
Fucking
who Baby Spice is?
Yeah.
The Spice Girls?
Like
Jerry
her
Halliwell.
real name? No.
No. That wasn't Baby, was it? That
think
was
so.
that was the redhead.
Isn't that
So
Baby
does
Spice?
Ginger.
Ginger. Okay.
Ginger Spice.
Ginger is the
Baby
Baby
redhead.
Spice
has
was
the little blonde
Blonde.
ponytails.
All right. Well, whichever one is Jerry Halliwell was married to a guy who ran an F1 team, Red Bull. And she gave an interview where she said, you know what? I just decided that I'm only going to wear white for the rest of my life. And that's all she wears. You see her out anywhere. She's just wearing all white outfits all the time.
I mean, it's like Andy Warhol who only wore the black turtleneck.
There is a classical music composer, Eric Satie, who only ate white foods for a period.
Oh.
He was like batshit crazy.
So
That's a lot of gravy.
color. Color is where
Mashed
it's at,
potatoes.
folks.
Potatoes, gravy,
Rice.
white cheese,
Cauliflower.
white processed cheese. Yeah, I mean,
White potatoes.
all right. Question number 6: Which state
I
held
sure
a
would like
special
some
U.S.
French fried potatoes.
House election this week, in which Republican Matt Von Epps prevailed over Democrat Afton Bain? AJ would know this one.
AJ, what do you think?
I didn't hear the question.
Which state held a special U.S. election this week in which Republican Matt Van Epps prevailed over Democrat Afton Bain?
Fucking Tennessee. Afton Bain is fucking awesome, y'all.
Yep.
She is. She's been great for years. She's the only one that stood up against the drag queen law. She stood up for kids. She stood up for the kids that were there, asking for gun legislation for all the school shootings that had happened. Afton Bain is fucking awesome, and I'm glad that she pulled this. You know,
It was close.
9%.
It's close.
Yeah, 9% in a district that went for Donald Trump, 22% and 21% for the previous representative.
I always say never vote Republican again. And the reason that I say that is I don't know about the other states, but in Tennessee, oftentimes there were only Republicans on the ballot. Oftentimes.
Oftentimes. Yeah, there you go.
And there are only Republicans on the ballot, and they changed the rules. Whoops. They changed the rules for if you can vote in the Republican primary. And I think that might be my fault because I told all the libertarians in the state to go and vote in the Republican parties and say none of the above. So they did that. And so they changed their rules. And now you have to be a member of the Republican Party to vote in their primaries in
Yeah,
Tennessee.
that's a nationwide movement to close off their primaries. Which I'm
Mhm.
sorry if you close off your primary. They've done this in West
Oh, I
Virginia
didn't
as
do
well.
that. They were planning that anyway.
Well, no,
Okay.
they've been doing that across the country to get to close off the primaries for that reason. Because I remember when I was back in the dark times when I was a Republican in Georgia, we went and voted in a primary against Cynthia McKinney because she
Mhm.
was just kind of a little out there, and she ended up losing that seat, and Hank Johnson became the representative. Again, it's Democrat, but we voted in mass in the primary.
Well,
Mhm.
and it's interesting. So in Massachusetts, where it's 8-1 Democrat to Republican in terms of registered voters,
Yeah,
a lot of Democrats are registered as independent because there's nobody to vote for in the Democratic primary, and so they'll often vote in the Republican primary, and frequently it means that the Republican candidate has no chance of winning because there's so many Democrats, and so it's the most liberal Republican who ends up winning, which I think is a good
just
thing.
bit them in the bit the Democratic Party in the ass a couple times.
Well, it has, right? It has, because then they elect somebody who's actually capable of winning, and of course, it bit them most famously in the ass when they tried to do the other thing, where they said, "Let's see what we can do to make sure that Donald Trump wins the presidential nomination."
It's true.
The Hillary Clinton strategy.
Yeah, that was stupid. But yeah, West Virginia's done it as well. But to me, I think if you close off your primary and you only let Republicans vote for you,
State shouldn't pay
same
for
thing
it.
with the state should not be paying for
I
that
agree.
primary. The party should be
Right.
paying for those elections. If they're going to close it off like that, if they leave them open, I still hate primaries, but if they leave them open, then you make a better case for them being state funded. So, question number 7. Michael and Suzanne Dell of Dell Technologies announced an enormous donation this week. For which purposes? Building community hospitals, creating investment accounts for children, funding renewable energy research, or supporting disaster relief efforts.
The answer is actually none of the above, because they are not creating the investment.
No, they did not.
For the children. But that's what it is. But let's talk about the bullshit that this is.
Yes.
So a lot of people are talking about these Trump accounts, and Trump account is essentially a savings account that you can set up for children, and the government deposits $1,000 in for every child. So if you open it, I mean, that's nice. It's $1,000. Ties circle back around to what we're talking about what causes inflation. But the thing that people really don't get about it is how incredibly stupid this is, because there is a plan out there now called the 529, where anybody who wants to can put money into the 529 for a child. The account is open in the child's name. Anybody who wants to put money in there, and it's tax deductible, just like the Trump accounts that they're going to be talking about. And there's a much higher limit. The Trump accounts are limited to taking $5,000 a year, whereas an individual can donate, I believe it's $19,000. Somebody can tell me it's correct, into a 529. Also, when you take money out of a Trump account, you have to pay taxes on it, whereas when you take money out of a 529, it's tax-free.
Oh,
Now,
that's funny.
Much
You
like
can-
a Roth. Much like a Roth.
exactly.
And the
Now-
19,000 sounds like it's tied into the indexed annual amount that you can gift
401k.
to someone. And
Yes, that's exactly what it is, because it's a gift.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm glad we got a CPA on the show.
I mean, honestly, okay. First off, you got to stop. People have got to stop this weird Botox thing that they're doing. Like, I'm gonna have trouble sleeping tonight.
The Botox.
Which bank
More
is going to
Lago
make
face?
money off of that deal?
Well, did anybody see the White House presidential awards today?
No.
No.
Kiss Kiss is scarier now than they were than when they had makeup on. Like
Right.
they and all of the stuff. AJ and I were talking about this earlier. They these are people who are fundamentally against gender affirming care for transitioning people, and they are all too happy to participate in their own gender affirming care. I'm sure they all have Viagra as well. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's all of them have really bad work. They don't look like real human beings anymore.
No, they don't.
Wait, so this is Kiss, the
Kiss.
band?
Yeah,
The band.
Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons is a huge trumper.
But
Yeah.
what's weird is that they used to perform before they wore the makeup. They used to perform in dresses as a band called the New York Dolls.
No, that was a different one. Was that was a different band, wasn't it?
Buster.
That was
Poindexter.
Buster Poindexter. Yeah.
Yes, no, but you're right. They were not the New York Dolls, but they used to perform
they performed
dress.
in makeup and costumes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they have a problem with trans people. And Sylvester Stallone, I wish somebody would continue punching his stupid fucking face.
Yeah.
AJ, why don't you tell us how you really feel?
I tell you,
I know that came out of nowhere. I was like really chilling, and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? Hate that guy."
what's weird about it is that I bet you that, I mean, you can't have been successful in entertainment and truly be anti-LGBT because you encounter so many people. So what happens if these guys are willing to completely compromise their principles?
They got something from the president. There's this whole aura of, and I hate to be kind of almost classist about this, but these are like Trump and the Kiss. They have this aura of nouveau riche, like they are.
Yeah.
They want to act like they're uber rich people, and they are uber rich people. They've made a lot of money, but they do things like put gold filigree all over the White House. Have gaudy houses. They have golden toilets, things like that. And it's just like it's the pretense of richness that they want to outwardly display. And I think in the case of Gene Simmons and Kiss is that they want to be seen as connected and hobnobbing with the president and things like that. And it's just, I mean, it's kind of sad. They used to be kind of badass, and now it's like
Trump. Yeah. I mean, Gene Simmons was always a rah America guy.
Oh,
like, I don't know if you remember his reality TV show Family Jewels, but he was, immigrant story. And yet, here we are, and exactly that. His family immigrated. And yet, I don't know. It's inexplicable. Let's talk about popes.
To Jews. Yes. Question number 8. Where did Pope Leo the 14th make his first trip abroad as pontiff? Seoul, South Korea, Manila, Philippines, Beirut, Lebanon, or Cairo, Egypt? I have
no idea.
I don't really.
Brandy, help!
But I know he's from Chicago.
He is from Chicago,
and he's a Cubs fan.
And somebody gave him a White Sox jersey, which I thought was interesting.
I was going to guess Lebanon.
Lebanon's got a
has a large Christian community.
Yeah, one of the things that people don't realize about Lebanon is that they have a massive Christian community there.
Yep.
In fact, I think it is majority, like plurality Christian. They have both sects of Islam, the Shiites and the Muslims, or Shiites and the Sunnis, in Lebanon as well. But the plurality are Maronite Christians. So, yeah.
The
Lubnani.
Beirut is frequently referred to as the Paris of the Middle East.
Except for when it gets the shit bombed out of it.
Except when it gets shit bombed out of it.
Or when shit blows up in its port.
If you want to, that's an amazing explosion. There's so much video on it too. A great episode of what was Anthony Bourdain's show? I can't remember now. No Reservations.
Yeah.
A great episode in Beirut.
I would love to go to Beirut or actually all throughout Lebanon. I went to college with several Lebanese exchange students, and they always talked about how wonderful their country is. There's so much pride in their country.
So
Um,
much amazing food for such a small place.
Amazing history.
Yeah.
The entire country is just rife with history. Of course, being part of the Creole civilization and all that stuff. It's just, yeah. Every time I see bombings and shit like that, I'm like, God, you guys just don't realize what you're sitting on top of. But yeah, Beirut is the first place that Pope Leo went to. All right, question number 9. A Fabergé egg sold at auction this week for over $30 million. How much of the collectibles eggs were originally? How many of the collectible eggs were originally produced? 5, 10, 50, or 100? I gotta think. I mean, for 30 million, it would have to be like
These
5.
these are not the eggs that I buy, so I'm really not prepared for this
Price of
question.
eggs are going up, man.
It is.
All I can think
what
of
is
is
what is the Bond movie?
Oh, Brandy says 50.
Yeah.
50.
I'm pretty sure it's 50.
Louis Jourdan,
Speaking of 50.
Maud Adams, Roger Moore, and
Exactly right. It is Octopussy.
We will never doubt Brandy again. I did it twice 2 weeks ago and bombed both of them. I apologize.
We've learned.
We have learned. All right, question number 10 for a perfect week. What is the most endangered marine mammal species in the world? Walrus, vaquita, narwhal, or otter?
I think vaquita is a banana.
Dan.
What is this thing? Is it a narwhal?
I think it's a narwhal.
That's the one with the tusk. The narwhal.
Yeah.
The narwhal's with the tusk, and I
it's
think
hunted
the
for the
walrus
tusk
just
because it's
became a
ivory.
non-endangered.
That's a porpoise. Yeah.
I don't know what a vaquita is.
I don't know what a vaquita is.
What are the choices again?
Walrus, vaquita,
Absolutely
narwhal,
adorable
or
teeny vaquita.
All right.
I have no idea.
Say that 10 times fast, Brady. That is hilarious.
Yeah,
She wore an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot vaquita.
I've never heard of a vaquita, so I'm okay with that. Narwhal.
I've never seen the ocean. I think you're all making it up.
Correct.
There we go.
The vaquita, a tiny porpoise found in the northern Gulf of California, is the most endangered marine mammal species in the world. Fewer than 10 are left. Oh,
wow! I never.
Save the vaquitas.
That's right.
I mean, at this point in time, you got to capture one and save their DNA for Jurassic Park sort of things.
We don't know these creatures.
Just
They
because
might
we
be
can.
Oh, I mean,
They
they are dicks. I mean, well,
They may.
I mean, if you guys don't know this, dolphins are huge dicks. They have, some very unpleasant antisocial behaviors that I'm not going to.
They would probably be welcomed into the Libertarian Party.
Exactly right. That's exactly
oh,
right.
Heavens. The dolphin call.
Purpose for chair.
Nice.
All right, we got 10 out of 10.
Thank you, Brandy.
Yes, thank you, Brandy, for bailing us out once again. Thank you, Emily, for coming on the show this week.
Yeah.
I missed you.
This has been so much fun.
Yes.
Congratulations on 5 years.
Yeah.
Guys,
Thanks for coming on. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Joe, for being there. And Emily, if you ever want to come on the show, just say the word and I will put you on the show because I love having you on the show. But thank you to everybody who's watched tonight and over the years. Janice, I tried to get Craig on because I wanted an audience member to take part in the quiz, but unfortunately couldn't. Should have had Craig come on early tonight and we'd worked out his audio issues. But Liz, AA Love Letter. If you want to watch a old episode of the Political Deep Dive, just go to youtube.com/Papaduke. That is where they are at. And all of them, all the way back, except for the first episode where I got extremely drunk. And I took that one off. Never drink. It was like I want to say a 24-ounce porter beer on an empty stomach.
Oops.
That was just that was bad. It was like 18% alcohol. It was
I think that's a good policy. If any
Yeah,
of us
yeah.
ever get
That's why I
drunk
don't drink on the
the
show anymore.
train,
So.
just don't post the show.
But yeah, you can watch any of those shows that I mentioned earlier. I appreciate everybody who's watched us tonight. Liz, Brandy, Love Letter, Janice, Craig, all those who've been on the journey these 5 years. We hope to bring you many more years of extremely fun time. You have seen me extremely drunk, Brandy. Lord. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching us, and we will see you all next week on the Political Deep Dive. Have a good one, everybody.
Night,
Good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.
1/4 should do. Number